Hi, welcome to your mat today. My name is Maureen, and I just want to remind you that as we hop onto our mats today, to please honor your body and all of its uniqueness and limitations and history of injuries, and please modify your practice in any way to work for yourself today. Right? You don't need to do everything I say. It doesn't need to look the same way. You can always add more support for yourself. You can always pause and take rest and rejoin us when you're ready. So for today's practice, we're going to start standing. So if you are sitting, go ahead and rise onto your 2 feet and stand.
Stand and have a wider base for your feet. So feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. Add a soft little bend to your knees. And then just begin to move your body. And it might look like this, but it might look different. You might lift the arms, just kind of work out the kinks of the week or begin the process of working out the kinks of the week. And if you're finding this little swaying twist, you can let the legs get involved and let one heel lift at a time. Yeah, and as you're finding movement, whatever it looks like or feels like in your body, begin to also notice your breath. Pay attention to your breath. And then we'll slow the movement down. And bring the feet a little bit closer together, but keep them about hip width apart. And we'll take a big breath in. Reach your arms up overhead, spreading your fingers really wide. And just pause here. Feel your feet on the earth. Take another breath in. Look up, stretch up. And then as you exhale, let's bend the knees and take a forward fold over your thighs. This is a shape called ragdoll. Keep your knees deeply bent and grab hold of the opposite elbow, your opposite elbow. So it's a pretty relaxed forward fold. Let your head relax and your elbows relax. So both your head and your elbows and your arms, kind of adding a little pull or tug in your upper spine. And you might find a little bit of movement here. And again, that can look a lot of different ways. It might be a sway of your body. There might be a little wave of the body forward and back. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. You're just warming your body, welcoming your legs, lengthening your spine. Yeah, and find a little movement of your head and your neck. So just noticing if or where you might be holding tension by moving your head and neck. Yeah, and then we'll release the hands. Keep your knees bent. Take a breath in and roll yourself all the way up to stand. Yeah, and once you're standing, circle the shoulders a couple times, lift them up to the ears, squeeze them together behind the back, and drag them down. Yeah, and we'll just take that a couple times, rolling through the shoulders. Yeah, circle the shoulders one more time. And then take a big breath in. Reach and lift up again. And same thing as you exhale, bend your knees and fold forward over your thighs, relaxing your head, relaxing your shoulders. This time, just dangle the arms or let them rest on the floor if they reach. And then we'll do a couple stretches from here. So I'm going to have you straighten out the right leg. Keep your left knee bent. Yeah, so straighten out the right leg. Left knee stays bent. And then walk your right hand forward and across to the left at a diagonal. And it's a little bit of an exploration, but I want you to come to a place where you can get a lot of side body stretch on the right side. So play around with the exact placement of the right hand. You might need to walk it further forward or further to the left. And you might need to send your right hip further back. So just engaging through the leg to send the hip back. Yep. And then we'll return to center, and we'll do that on the second side. So the right knee will bend, the left leg will straighten, and it'll be the left hand that walks across at a diagonal to the right. And move your body around so you start to get some sensation and some elongation through the left side of your body. And then we'll turn that hand to center, equally bend both knees, and once again, inhale, roll all the way back up to stand. Yeah, arms to the sky. And last time like this, bend your knees, fold all the way forward, head relaxes. Yeah, and we'll do a third stretch from here. This time I'm going to have you bend your right knee. Walk your right fingertips in towards the middle of your mat. So the fingers will be right underneath your shoulders. You can always, you have a block or a book or a can of beer. I don't know what you have in your house. You can always add something underneath the right fingers there. And then take a stretch and a twist, lifting the left arm up to the sky. Yeah, and if it's not comfortable for the arm to reach all the way to the sky, it can also rest on the back. It can rest on your sacrum. Good. Release the arm that's lifted back to the earth. And we'll do that on the second side. So the right leg will straighten, the left knee will bend. The left hand will come fingertips to the floor or add some height. It can also be like fingers on the couch. These are the benefits of being at home. And then open yourself up to a twist, the chest rotating towards the right. And notice the right fingers, the fingers in the air, separate and bring some energy all the way up into your hands. And then let that go. Yeah. And you'll either walk your hands forward or walk your feet back, or maybe a combination of the two, depending on where you are on your mat. And come into the shape of downward facing dog. This might be new to you. This might be an old familiar pose to some of you. You're coming into a shape where the body looks like an inverted V. The arms are straight and active. The fingers are spread. Yeah. And the legs, they can either be straight or you can bend both of your knees. So I'd rather see you have bent knees and a long spine rather than kind of straightening the legs and curving the spine. So bent knees is perfectly okay here. And we'll just take a couple rounds of breath, breathing in and out through your nose. Yeah, stay where you are. Stay in the shape of downward facing dog. Move your head a little bit. So nod your head yes. And nod your head no. And sometimes it's through the movement of our neck and head that we recognize where we might be holding, where there might be some clenching or some gripping. And we'll spend a couple more breaths there. Feel free to move your legs around a little bit. So you might bend one knee deeper than the other. Feel like you're pedaling out the legs. So your left knee might be bent, deeply bent, your right leg straighter. Yeah, and take that through a couple of times, bending and straightening. Yeah. From here, I'm going to have you step your right foot forward between your hands. And some of us, we might need to take the hand to help step the foot forward and then draw your back knee to the earth. Yep. So we're coming towards like a low lunge shape. And your hands, just keep them on the ground, or if you have something and you want to add them underneath, like blocks or books. Yeah, and with the hands on the ground, just really gently start to bend and straighten the front knee. And this might be a pretty big range of motion in your body. It can also be pretty small, and that's okay. Ah. And so you're just warming up into the ankle, your knee, your hip. It should feel good. If it doesn't feel good, shift something about it. And then next time the right knee is deeply bent, pause there. You can stay where you are with the hands. Another option is to walk the hands up to the front leg. And another option is to reach the arms up to the sky. We'll just spend a couple breaths. None of them is better than the other, so feel free to find any placement for your hands. And make sure that there's no pain in the back knee. So if you're on concrete outside or a hardwood floor, you can always slide something under your back knee or push into the top foot to lessen how much the back knee is pressing into the earth. Take one more breath. Look up to the space between your hands. Separate your fingers wide. And then exhale, release your hands to the earth. And let's just step back to the downward facing dog position. The right foot steps back, both feet at the back of the mat. And then we'll take the second side. Step your left foot forward, step or help the left foot forward. Connect your back knee, the right knee to the earth, untuck those toes. And then just explore a little bit, bend and straighten through your leg. Bending and straightening and feeling how that might be opening up the right hip crease, especially if we've been sitting a lot, that can get pretty tight. Next time the left knee is bent, pause there. And you might stay exactly where you are. You might feel a good stretch here. If you want to add something more, the hands can come up to the thigh, or the arms can reach all the way up. And once you're there, again, a couple breaths. Warming into the legs, stretching the right hip and the right hip flexor. And then let's release the hands down and come back to the shape of downward facing dog by stepping the left foot back. And then here in the shape of downward facing dog, take a deep breath in through your nose. And then open your mouth, exhale, let the week out. And then we'll bend both knees. Draw the knees to the earth to come into the shape of a tabletop. So your shoulders will come over your elbows over your wrists, and your hips over your knees. And then we'll just find movement in the spine as you take a breath in. Shine the center of your chest forward. Look forward, lift your hips up. And then as you exhale, round your spine. Let the head dangle as you look back towards your belly button. And we'll take a couple breaths there, letting the inhale arch your spine, chest forward, hips high. And exhale, round your spine. Use your own breath and finding your own pace of your breath. Cycle through that a couple of times. And it might also feel good to find some other movements. You can sway your head from side to side, or like a jump rope, you can kind of circle the whole spine, circling the head and the hips in the same direction. So we'll just spend a couple of breaths and feel free to explore movement in the way that feels best in your body and modify it to feel good and to feel some sense of opening. And then let's come back to our neutral spine. So the spine's not overarched or over-rounded. There's the natural ripples, the natural wave of the spine. Stay connected to your two hands. And let's reach the right leg back and lift the heel up just to hip height. So just lifting the toes, 6 or 8 inches off the floor. And see if you can balance the weight between the two hands, your two hands on the ground. And some of you might want to lift the left palm of the hand up and just have the left fingertips up. Some of you might want to lift the whole left hand up, drawing the upper arm alongside your ear. You can also just stay with a hand on the ground. So a couple of options for variations there. And then we'll take a deep breath in, reach out through the heel. If you have the hand lifted, reach out to the fingers. And as you exhale, bend your knee, draw the thigh in towards your chest. If the arm is lifted, draw the elbow towards your knee, round your spine. And as you breathe in, reach your leg long, maybe the arm reaches long, spine stretches long. And we'll do that again twice more. Exhale, curl the knee into the chest, maybe the elbow as well. Inhale, lengthen it out. And last time, exhale, knee towards the nose, option for the arm. And inhale, find lengthen your arm and your leg. And then release. Release the hand, release your knee. Take a moment, find some movement and a breath. Yeah, second side. Second side's always easier. If you need to take a moment and shake out your wrist, that's always an option. I'm joking about the second side always being easier. It's not. So let's start by stretching the left leg back and the heel up. Yeah, and then just pay attention to your body. Notice, how does it feel to pop up onto your right fingertips? Does it feel right to do that or to lift the arm? Maybe so, maybe not. Neither is right or wrong. It's just different. Yeah, and feel that lift and that length through the heel and the fingers. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, draw the left thigh in towards the chest, round your spine. Maybe the right arm comes with it. Inhale, stretch your body long. And exhale, curl it in, elbow to knee or knee to chest. Inhale, extend. And then exhale, last time, pull it in, round your spine. And lengthen it out. And then we'll release, hand to the earth, knee to the earth. Let's take one more cat-cow. So scoop the chest forward, arch your spine, take a breath in. And exhale, curl the whole spine and over. And then we'll lift the knees, curling the toes under. Come back to your downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, take a deep breath in. Open your mouth, exhale. And let's walk the feet forward to meet the hands. So taking us a couple steps to arrive, feet forward to the hands. And once the feet are at the front of your mat, knees can be bent or straight. We'll take a breath in, slide your fingertips up your shins, lengthen your spine. So lift the spine up towards about hip height. Reach the crown of the head forward. And then exhale, refold the chest towards the thighs, the crown of the head towards the earth. We'll do that a couple more times. Fingers on your shins, lengthen and lift halfway up with a strong back. And then refold, exhale. One more time, inhale to lift. And exhale to release. Good. And then knees straight or knees bent, rise all the way back up. And connect the hands in front of the heart, hands to center. Yeah. Good. I know you were sitting possibly all week, so was I, but we're going to come into chair pose. It's going to feel different than your normal chair. So feet can be together or they can be hip width apart. So options for your legs and your feet. Yeah, and actually let's start with the hands on the thighs. It kind of tricks you to getting a little deeper into it. So hands on your thighs, bend your knees. Yeah, and look down at your knees. So for most of us, when we bend the knees are pretty far forward over the toes. See if you can invite the knees to slide back so they're more stacked over the heels. Yeah, and then maybe draw the hands up to center, hands to your heart. And consider lowering the heels, or I'm sorry, lowering the hips a little bit more, like there's an invisible little kid's chair back there, but it's not actually there. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here and be okay with the legs starting to work, starting to fire. And for the last 2 or 3 breaths, you want to reach the arms overhead. That's another option. If you want more support, hands can come back to the thighs. So make decisions for your body. Feel free to modify. It doesn't have to be the same as what your coworkers are doing. And then the next time you take a breath in, Two straight legs, reach all the way up, arms to the sky. And hands to heart, exhale. Good. If your feet are wide, bring the toes together. And then we'll bend the knees as if we're coming into chair this again, but have the hands on the upper thighs. And then just circle the knees. You'll bend the knees a little bit deeper as you slide them forward. We'll straighten a little bit as you come back. And then switch directions. One more circle in this direction. Good. And then straighten out the legs, reach your arms high. And let the hands come back to the heart. Good. We're going to bend the knees a little bit. So just like a soft bend in the knee. I'm going to have you start to transfer weight to the right foot. The left foot's going to start to come off the ground. And then see if you can take a step back with the left foot. Yep. And you might need to wiggle the left foot even further back. You decide. And we're going to do a little sequence. So this is high lunge or high crescent lunge. You can do this here. If you want more support, you can always drop the back knee to the earth. So either way, begin to open the arms, lift them up to the sky. I'm just going to face you. And play for a moment by settling your right thigh a little bit deeper and reaching out through your back heel so the legs are strong. And then we'll take a deep breath in, reach up through the fingers. And as you exhale, flip the palms to face forward and really slow, just begin to explore lowering the hands. So the hands are reaching back as they lower, and it should feel like a good stretch in the front of your chest. And then when you get down to the bottom, you might take a couple breaths. Let's let that slow process of lifting the arms back up. Again, let it be an exploration, getting really curious about all this opening. We kind of live our lives right here, right now. Kind of do the opposite, open it up. And then we'll release the hands to the earth. And step back to your downward facing dog, so feet to the back of the mat. Take a breath in and slide the body forward to the shape of plank. So, old familiar friend for some of us, brand new for others of us. It might be here, the body straight. You can also lower the knees to the earth right away for more support. And we'll just take one breath in. And then we'll all lower the knees to the earth. Bend your elbows and lower the thighs, the belly, and the chest to the earth. So untuck the toes. And then walk the fingers slightly forward and slightly wider. The fingertips might come right outside of the mat. And let the palms lift off the ground, fingertips connect down, elbows face towards the sky. And then as you take your next breath in, lift your chest up by pushing into the fingertips. So it's modification of a cobra pose. And as you exhale, lower the belly and the chest back down. We'll do that twice more. Inhale, ground your fingertips, ripple the chest up, and descend as you exhale. And we'll lift one more time. This time we'll hold as we're lifted. And feel free just to hold and pause. If it feels good, you might look over one shoulder towards your back heels, get a little rotation in the spine. And you might look over the other side. Return to center. Lengthen your spine as you lower it all the way back down. And we'll slide the palms back in under the shoulders. And lift your body up to find your downward facing dog again. Strong arms, grounded hands. Take 2 breaths here. And then we'll step the feet forward again to the front of the mat. Yeah, and that could be one big step. It can be a series of smaller steps. When you get there, fingers roll up the shins, lengthen the spine again so you get this flat back shape. And exhale to refold. And then we'll rise. Legs can be straight or they can be bent. Reach the arms out and up. And hands to center. All right, second side of that. So start with the soft bend in your knees. Yeah, the left foot is going to become the front foot, your foundation. And the right toes start to lift them up. And then start to send the right foot back. Yeah, and you might get to the final landing spot with the right foot. And that first step, you might need to wiggle it back. You might choose to lower the back knee. That's an option. Stretch your arms up to the sky. Yeah, and I'll face you again. So start with the strong legs. The left knee descending, right heel kicking back. And then take a deep breath in, reach up. And we'll take this chest exploration as you exhale. So palms will face forward, slowly reach the back of the hands back as you lower the arms down towards the side body. And then slowly open the chest and explore lifting your arms back up. Once your arms are lifted, take a breath in, reach through your fingers, maybe look between your hands. And then let it all go. Ground your palms into the earth. And let's step back to downward facing dog again. So left foot meets the right at the back of the mat. Let's take a deep, full breath in. And a full breath out. Good. We'll step the right foot forward. Step the right foot forward. And right away, come up onto your fingertips. Or if you have any support and you want support underneath the fingers, you can always have something there too. Yeah. And then we'll keep the left hand down. Again, it can be on a block or it can be hand on the floor. And we'll take a little twist, rotating the chest to the right, lifting the right arm up to the sky, or resting the right hand on the back. And again, there's variations of this. You can always draw the back knee to the earth. Wow. Notice your hand that's in the air. Separate your fingers wide. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, release the right hand to meet the earth. And we'll ground the back foot. So I'm just going to have you pivot the heel towards the earth. And then lift yourself up to the shape of warrior two. So warrior two, the hips are going to be facing the long end of your mat. Yep, you all got it. And the right leg, bend it as much as you want. The arms will come out to the left and the right, or forward and back on the mat. Yeah. And then we'll just deepen into it slowly. The next time you take a breath in, push into the ball of your front foot to straighten the right leg. And as you exhale, re-bend the right knee. Let's take that a couple times. Inhale to straighten. And exhale to dip the thigh towards the earth. One more time. Straighten as you inhale. And explore the lunge as you exhale. Yeah, and then spin your gaze to look over the right fingertips if that feels okay with your neck. And we'll pause here for a couple of breaths. We'll start just by loosening the arms. So let the arms be super sloppy. Yep, don't do anything. Don't have any intention with them. And then do the opposite. Imagine that you had like 10 little flashlights on the end of your fingers and they're shining out in 10 different directions. And then imagine that your palms are kind of at like bar height, like a counter height. Imagine that you could push your hands down into this invisible countertop. So arms are really, really active, and then soften your face. Good. Release your left hand to your back leg. We'll take a reverse warrior. Sweep the right arm straight up to the sky first. And then if it's comfortable, add a little side body stretch, reaching the right hand back towards your back foot. Yep. And then bend your right knee a little bit more. Take a deep breath in. And let it all go as you exhale. Bring the hands back to the earth around your right foot. And we'll step back to the downward facing dog, hips to the sky, feet to the earth. Take a full deep breath in. And exhale. Good. We'll take the second side of that. So the left foot will step forward. We'll start by pausing on the fingertips. So this runner's lunge. Yeah, and then we'll keep the right hand down. Lift your left arm up to the sky. And just recall that you have options. If this is too much, back knee to the earth, or add something underneath the bottom hand. Separate and spread the hands in the air. Take one more breath in. And then let it go, hand to the earth. Spin your right heel to the earth so you have more stability with the heel on the earth. And then find your way up to your warrior two. Yeah, nice. Yeah. And once you're there, we'll find a little dynamic movement. Let the inhale straighten the front leg. So it's a straightening of the leg without jamming into the knee. Yep. And then it's an exhale to re-lunge the left knee forward. We'll just take that twice more with your breath. Inhale to straighten. And exhale to bend. I lost count, so let's do it one more time. Straighten and inhale. And then come back to your warrior two with the front knee bent. Yeah, and again, get lazy with the arms initially. Yeah, some of you are just totally dropping them. It's great. I love it. Yeah, and then really let them become these warrior arms. Where you're separating the fingers wide. There's a lot of intention. You're pushing down. There's like this isometric contraction as you push the hands down and reach them out. And then the gaze spins over the left middle finger. And just play with lengthening and smoothing your breath. Even when you're in a pose, it's quite challenging. The body's challenged, but can you calm the mind and keep your breath smooth? We'll release the right hand to the back thigh. Lift the left arm straight up to the sky. Lengthen the whole left side body. And then maybe add a little bit of a lean back towards your back foot. Good. Yeah, take a moment. Descend back into your left knee. I know it's Friday. Work a tiny bit. Big breath in. And then let it all go. Hands circle back to the earth. And we'll step the left foot back to your downward facing dog. I'll have you shift back to your plank pose, but then we'll come out of the wrist right away. So replace the elbows where the hands were, coming down onto a forearm plank. Yep. And the knees can be lowered or the knees can be lifted. Yeah, and so a little bit of abdominal engagement here. See if you can let the whole front side of the body engage and lift to support the back side of the body. There's a little broadness through your shoulders, a little lift through the belly, lift through your legs. We'll take 2 more breaths. I promise it won't last forever. Stay with me. And then to lower, if the knees are lifted, go ahead and lower the knees, lower the hips and the legs, keep the chest lifted, untuck your toes. Yep, and here we are in Sphinx pose. So ground the hands into the earth, drag the hands back towards your feet, and lift the chest through. It's a little back bend. And we'll stay for about 3 or 4 breaths. Feel free to close your eyes. And feel your breath. One more breath. Push the palms down, drag the palms back towards the feet. Let that lift the chest one more time. And then release. Splay the elbows out to the side. Rest your head on the mat. It can be forehead on the mat, or you can spin one ear or the other to the mat. And just take a couple breaths, resting the whole front side of your body on the ground. In the shape, take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, exhale. And we'll draw the hands back underneath the shoulders to lift yourself back. You can come back through downward facing dog. Actually, let's all come back through downward facing dog. That seems like it makes sense. And then walk the feet forward to your hands, coming towards a forward fold at the front of your mat. And we'll take a breath in to walk the fingers high on the legs, lengthen the spine for your half lift. And exhale, refold the body towards your thighs. And then we'll rise all the way up. And connect the hands in front of the body. And just take a moment. Notice how your body feels. Notice the residue of that movement and breathing and how it feels in your body. And then you're welcome to flip yourself so you're facing the long end of your mat. You're also welcome to step off your mat. But let's separate the legs nice and wide. So I have short legs, so my feet are about 4 feet apart. If you are more long in your body, you'll have a wider stance. Yep. And then we'll kick the heels in and point the toes slightly out. So the toes face about 45 degrees out. Bring your hands onto your upper thighs and start to bend your knees and descend your hips towards the earth. Yeah. And never before in yoga, never again in yoga will I encourage you to hike the shoulders up towards the ears, but let it happen. Let the shoulders lift up to the ears. In a way, it's just helping to descend the hips a little bit more. Yeah, and then slide your hands down towards your knees and towards your inner legs a little bit more. Yep, and we're just gonna take a twist. So I'm gonna have you draw your left shoulder towards the opposite leg, towards your right leg. And so as you're twisting towards the right, the left hand, let it push the left thigh open and away from you. And we'll come back up to center and we'll take it on the second side. Right hand pushing into the inner right thigh as you twist your right shoulder towards your opposite knee, towards your left side. And go through that one more time. Pivoting the body, twisting the body, and maybe exploring descending the hips a little bit more. You'll get a little bit more sensation the lower you dip the hips. You should get a good stretch into the inseam of the leg, so your adductor muscles. Yeah. And then bring the torso and your spine back to center. Options to keep your hands right where they are. Options to float the hands up. We're going to take 5 breaths. I know it's going to feel a lot on the legs. Option to also reach the arms to the sky or bend the elbows, really anywhere you want to go with the hands. Let them land wherever you want them. Play with descending the pelvis like a millimeter more. Feel into it, breathe into it. Last 2 breaths. And then straighten your legs. Point your toes forward. Slide your hands to your hips. And let's just hinge forward to a straddle forward fold. So the feet are still wide. Let the chest melt between your legs. And the hands can stay on the hips so they can slide down to your heels or somewhere along your legs. Or the hands can come to the floor. or some prop on the floor. And find some movement in your head. Give it a good no nod. And a little bit of a yes nod. And then rest with your head relaxed. If you are getting a really good stretch, stay exactly where you are. Don't move anything. If you're in search of more sensation, you might engage through your quadriceps, so the upper front of the leg muscles. Squeeze those in as if you could pull your kneecaps up to your hips. And then you might slide more of the weight of your body towards the balls of your feet, towards your toes. Take 2 more breaths here. And feel the sensation and the stretch in the backs of your legs, your calf muscles, your Achilles, your hamstrings, maybe up into your glutes, your butt muscles. And then we'll lift the spine. So just like we did in the forward fold earlier, walk the fingers forward, lift your spine about halfway. And the knees can be straight or bent, and just heel toe the feet towards the midline, heel toe the feet together. And then from there, we'll bend the knees, draw the knees all the way to the earth. And I'll offer a couple of different things. So one option to get a good foot stretch, or under the underside of the foot, is to keep your heels lifted and your heels are stacked over your toes. And you might even walk the hands down and untuck the pinky toe that likes to kind of hide back there. If that feels like too much, you can untuck the toes and sit on them, or find any other seat. So any options with the feet. But if you want to sit, sometimes they call this princess pose. I don't know why, but it's a good underfoot fascia stretch. And wherever you choose for your seat to be, separate your hands, reach them out to the left and the right like you're stopping traffic. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Take a deep breath in. And with your exhale, lower your pinky on each side, lower your ring finger, lower your middle finger, your pointer finger, and your thumb. And then draw the full knuckles to the earth. Keep the arms lifted, but just draw the knuckles down towards the earth. Yep, and we'll do that again. Inhale, separate the fingers, lift the palms to face out to the sides. Exhale, draw the pinky, ring, middle finger, forefinger, thumb around, descend the knuckles down. And then draw the hands to interlace and circle the hands. If it's too much on the feet, you can always release it, or you can come up onto your knees. I know we all have different tolerance for the foot stretches. Circle in the different directions, second direction. And then keep your hands interlaced. Draw the palms forward. Yep. And then reach the hands overhead. Look up at the hands. And release by drawing the hands out to the side. So spread the arms, circle them down. Good. Those of you that are still lifted on the heels, actually all of us, let's bring the hands to the ground and just tap out the feet. And then slide onto your bum. Slide onto your bum. Let's do a couple hip and then twist stretches. So let's start with a seated pigeon. So seated pigeon, draw your right ankle over your left thigh. And I'll give you a side view of it too. So right ankle over the left thigh. Depending on your hips, their front foot, you might walk it back in, or you might give it more space. And same with the hands. If you want more stretch, you're going to walk the hands closer to your body. Less stretch, let it be more lengthened. And then with your right knee, see if you can energetically or muscularly draw the inner thigh away from the chest. You're drawing the knee forward to get into a little bit of a hip stretch. Lift the center of your chest up. So notice if you're rounding, see if you can lift the center of your chest up. And some of you might stay right here where you are and just breathe. If you feel like you want to explore a little bit more, feel free to start to sway your body and your legs from side to side. And you might get more sensation with that, or it might feel pretty subtle in your body. If you want a little bit more, the next time you roll over to the right, play with lifting your left foot off the ground. And then just kind of circle around your right hip. So circle the body by pushing into the hands. And you might discover that you kind of have a more tender or more sensitive spot. Kind of focus your circles right in there. So it's a sweet little massage using the weight of your body to dig into your hips. If this hurts in any way, come out of it. And then come back to center. And let's plant the right foot on the floor. Separate the feet wide, so wider than, let's say, your hips. Hands are still behind you, and just sway the knees from side to side. And then we'll do the second side. Yeah. So the left ankle, let it come over the right thigh. Yep. And again, modify how far your arms and your legs are closer into the body. With each will bring more stretch. Send the chest forward and your left thigh away from your torso. Open the left hip. And either stay or maybe start to explore a little sway. If you're swaying, make sure that you're keeping the chest lifted. And if you liked that little massage, the next time you roll to the left, consider lifting your right foot up and roll onto your left hip. If you ever choose to explore this on your own and you want more, you can always stick like a tennis ball or your kid's bouncy ball under that same tender spot, and it really gets a good massage into the hip. Another option is like a yoga block or anything. You can kind of stick it under there and dig into the tender spots. And then let's let that go. And we'll stay seated. Let's send the left foot forward and cross your right foot over the left thigh. Yep. And start with your hands on the right thigh. Lift your chest up, lift the spine tall. And then keep the spine tall. We'll cactus the arms out. And we're going to do a couple different twists here. So keep the arms cactus. Take a deep breath in, lengthen your spine. And then as you exhale, we're going to do an open twist to the left. So twisting towards the left, keep your arms with this cactus. So it's a twist that's based on the engagement of the center of your body. Take another breath in. And then as you exhale, release the left hand behind you. Draw your right hand to the leg or your ankle or your thigh. And now add this point of leverage to rotate the chest a little deeper towards the left. And we'll return to center. Cactus the arms again. Yep, we'll do the same thing, a closed twist. Inhale here, closed twist, excuse me. As you exhale, start to rotate towards the right. Pause there. Use your obliques, use your abdominal muscles to hold. And then add in your arms, left elbow or hand to the front knee. Right hand grounds behind you to help lift the spine up as you twist to the right. And then come back to center. Release the right foot, shake out your legs. We'll do the second side. So cross your left ankle and your left foot over the extended right leg. Sit up tall. You can even have the hands behind you to help you find that initial lift. Or hands on the shin to lift. And then lift the arms. Spread the fingers. Take a deep breath in. And we'll twist to the right initially. Exhale. Yep. And then connect the arms. Deepen your twist. So use your arms to help you deepen the rotation of your torso and your chest to the right. And we'll rise back up, cactus the arms again. And keep the arms lifted as you exhale, rotate towards the left. Lift the chest, lift the spine, inhale. And then use your arms, left hand behind you, right hand or elbow to your front knee. And imagine all the flesh of your torso, all the organs inside, just revolving around your central column, around your spine. And then come back to center. Yeah. Extend the legs again, shake them out. And let's do that thing one more time. Knees bent, feet apart, and sway the legs from side to side. Yeah, and go into it. So you can let the hip lift off the ground as you're swaying to the opposite side. And then we'll slow that and find your way all the way down onto your back. All the way onto your back. Once you're there, connect the feet to the ground, your knees bent. Rest your hands on the ground. And we'll take one bridge pose. So for your bridge pose, you're going to push the feet into the earth and slowly, starting from the low back, lift your low back and then your middle back and your upper back off the earth, arching the spine, sending the center of the chest up. If you have a block, you could always slide it under your sacrum for support. If you've been practicing for a while, you might interlace the hands under your body. You can also just rest on the earth, or your elbows can bend. And your hands can come in to face the body like you're carrying a shoebox or a package. And we'll just pause and hold for a couple breaths, rooting through your feet, using your legs to lift the hips up, using your spine to lift it up. Notice if your legs are opening wide, and see if you can imagine there being a little bit more attraction through your inner legs, to your inner knees. There's some magnetism between there. Lift the hips up another inch. And then slowly from the top of the back all the way down, lower to the earth. And two options for the legs here. One, separate the feet wide and let the knees come to touch at center. Or do the opposite, where you draw the feet together and open your knees nice and wide. So it's kind of like butterfly pose. And wherever you are, close your eyes. Consider resting your hands somewhere on your body, maybe one on your belly, one on your chest to feel your breath. And just take this moment of stillness to notice how you feel. Notice any shifts or changes. If the legs are open wide, draw your hands down to your outer thighs and draw the legs back together. Yep. So we'll have the legs back together and then squeeze your knees into your chest. So draw the thighs towards the chest, your knees into your chest. And take a moment, separate your inner thighs away from each other. So it's as if you're pulling your right knee towards your right armpit and your left knee towards your left armpit. The legs will come outside the torso. It's a variation of a happy baby pose. You know, a different version of happy baby, feel free to take it. We'll just be here for a couple breaths. And then draw the thighs, inner legs back together. We'll take one breath in to roll yourself into as tight of a ball as you can. So you might lift the head and the shoulders, drawing your nose up towards your knees. Squeeze your shins, squeeze your thighs. Kind of like you want to curl into this tiny little shell of an egg. The body builds a little tension as it contracts towards itself. And then we'll move to the opposite, full expansion. Release the head to the earth, release your legs one at a time to the earth, your arms, let them ground. Yeah, and let your body really flop onto the ground. So there's no need to hold it anymore. There's no need to hold any of the muscles or hold it in a particular shape. Yeah, and here, just close your eyes. This is our final rest, a relaxation pose. Eyes closed, body soft. Nothing else that you need to do or think about or be nowhere else that you need to be. If you find that the mind starts to wander into either memory or planning, future or past, see if you can connect your mind and rest it on your breath and notice the breath as it comes and goes. If you have longer and your schedule allows for it, feel free just to stay and rest on your back. If you need to move on with your day, start to bring some really small movements back into your body. I'll let you decide what movements those are. It could be your fingers or your toes or your head or your tongue inside your mouth. But gently reawaken your body. In the next 4 or 5 rounds of breath, begin to roll yourself over onto the right side of your body. And let it be unhurried. No need to rush. Once you're on the right side, slowly begin to lift yourself up to find any seat, a comfortable seat for you. Your eyes can still be closed. If you're upright, connect the palms in front of the heart, thumbs connecting to the middle of your chest. I always like to end my practice by offering out the benefits of our practice, of our intentions, and our movement and our breathing to each other, but also to everyone that might be suffering in this moment. And I do that through a single breath. So let's start by taking a deep collective breath in together. Open your mouth, exhale it out, let it be an offering out. And then we bow to ourselves and we bow to each other. Namaste.
Thank you so much for being here, for practicing today. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting subscribe now, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Be well.